Hello and welcome to Hobby Vlog number 254. Now this week's been a little bit more hobbying than the previous two. I've been really trying to get back to it, and particularly doing things for Rosie, which is what you're going to see in the upcoming clips. So yeah, still no idea when she's going to come home. Still going through the court process. Still very difficult, but things are moving forwards, and fingers crossed she'll be back soon. So let's get on to the Reaper challenge. Last week, pop on screen now, I'll put the picture. I painted up Brand, the Barbarian, male Barbarian, and I painted it up to look like He-Man. And I've shown that to Rosie, and I've told her that she will be allowed to have and play with that miniature. So that is now set to one side and put there for Rosie. So hopefully when she comes home, she'll enjoy playing with that miniature. Last week, the one that won was Larrel's Silverhand, the blacksmith, which has been on the vote a fair few times, and I'm pretty pleased that that's finally got through. It was a draw between her and another one. I think it was the Geisha, can't remember exactly, or no, can't remember. It was a Japanese figure anyway, and that was the one that won the roll off, and so here we go. So I'll get that painted up this week and show what it looks like next week. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, on screen now and also in the description or the read more or whatever it is, there's a list of 10 Reaper miniatures. What you need to do is put a comment below with the name of the miniature that you want me to paint next week, and I will, whichever one gets the most votes, I'll pull out of my stash and paint. And this is really helping to keep you motivated. To be honest, without this challenge, I don't know whether I'd have done anything the first week I got back from America, but it's really kind of just kept me ticking over, and now that I've got some motivation again and some reason to do hobbying, Rosie, that's kept the motivation going and then helped me to get into that and get stuck into that much better. Anyway, bit of a rambly explanation, but I would truly appreciate it if you're watching this. Just have a quick look at the names and put a comment below. It doesn't cost anything. Everyone that votes will get entered into a draw, and at the end of every month I draw one name out of my hat or from my spinning wheel of awesome, and that person gets the opportunity to pick one of the miniatures from the previous month that won, and I'll send it to them brand new from the Reaper website. So that's how that works. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you again at the end. Right, let's have a quick look at Brand Male Barbarian, who won the vote last week. Nice simple model, but it looks like there's going to be a fair bit of cleanup. There's some flash there, and I think that there's some mould lines as well. Yeah, there's a big mould line there, but that's a cool looking model, so whatever, don't care. I think that'll be really fun to paint, and I'm going to try and paint it up as a He-Man, and that will be eventually one of Rosie's miniature to play with when we play some games. It looks to me like I'm not going to bother putting down another base, but I might do, I'm not sure. But I might do a little bit more of a different base for this one. So what I'm going to do now, as always, going to give it a good scrub, let it dry, get it cleaned up, clean all those mould lines away, stick it to a base, and maybe do a little bit of green stuff or milli patting or whatever to make that base fit in with this mottled that he's already got, and then prime him, and when that's all done I'll bring him back and show you what it looks like. I've been staring at this for probably months. It's a miniature tree, not bonsai, but just a miniature tree that I owned and died, and I looked at it and thought it'd be awesome as a centerpiece for terrain. As you can see, it's got quite an interesting root structure. And yeah, so yesterday I tidied out the room that it was in, and brought it upstairs, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a start on it. So you can see that it still has some soil on it, which I'm going to need to brush off. So I'm going to clean this up, brush off the soil, find a base for it to sit on, and then it's going to be quite a simple build. I'm not sure whether I'm going to try to strengthen the branches or not. I don't think anything I can do really will do much to strengthen them, so we just have to be careful of it, and it probably won't last very long, but it will still look really cool when we do use it. So I'll stick it onto a base like this, build up the base a little bit with some modelling compound probably, and then just flock around it, and it'll be quite a simple and quick craft. I might just do the cleaning and tidying up and then set it to one side in the hope that I can continue it with Rosie. But I'm not sure. I can't, you know, obviously I want to do everything with Rosie, but I've no idea when she's going to be back. So I might just spend this week preparing this. I've got a lot of other things I can get on with hobby-wise in the limited options and time I have. And then, yeah, if I can get Rosie, if I know I'm going to get Rosie back soon, then I'll just pause it again, and it'll be another hobby for me to do with her. So yeah, at least it's going to make a start and show you what the idea is, and I'm pretty excited to see how it looks. I might do some like trailing vines and all sorts of other things just to pretty it up, see how it goes, and like I say, hopefully Rosie will be involved. So there we are. So I've just been taking this kitchen brush to it, and I've managed to get most of the soil that was still attached off. And what I'm going to do now is use my tough, really good scissors. As you can see, these are really strong scissors, to just trim this bottom flat, like so, and try and get off any rotted material. You can see this has been dead in the pot for quite a long time. There we are. So now I should be able to stick that onto a base when I get to it, and that should be quite a solid support, particularly if I do build up a little bit around it as well with the modelling compound. So I'm going to set this to one side now and wait for, hopefully, Rosie to come home. If she doesn't, then I'll do it in memory of her. Well, not in memory, because I'll hopefully still have contact with her, but I'll do it anyway. But I will wait for her to come home and try and continue that with her. I've cleared off this table after putting stuff on it when I was tidying up the shelf that is just over there. This is technically a gaming table that I've put up here in room 13, but for now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make use of it to assemble this cool model here, which I opened, had a look at, and then put back in. So I haven't even actually washed any parts or anything like that, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the assembly, and then potentially I will do the I'll wash it if I need to. So I'll prime it and see if anything falls off. I hope I don't regret that, but there's just loads and loads and loads of parts, and it's a real pain. So the one thing it says, and the reason why I've done this, I've pulled this out here, is it says cut out the box and use it as an assembly aid, but I think it'd be better to use this as an assembly aid, because then I can keep the box, have all the parts in the box, keep it neat and all that good stuff. So I've got a little bit of time now before I call with my lawyer, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time seeing how far I get, and if I have any problems or anything, I'll bring you back, and if I feel like recording, I'll turn the camera on. It does say that it can be lit up with LEDs. I think I mentioned this in a previous clip. I wish I'd known, because I would have ordered that, but I didn't, and I'm not going to wait to assemble it to order them. It'll take ages to get here, so it's just going to have to be unlit. It says it is difficult to add on any additional features afterwards, is what it says. Difficult doesn't mean impossible, so it could be that I look at it, work out how to do it, and then order the parts later, and that's a separate video. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with regard to painting it at all. It does come coloured plastic, so it could be that all I do is weathering. So yeah, we shall see. Anyway, enough rambling. I'm going to sit down for a little bit now and see if I can get a few of this, get a little bit of progress done before I have my call. That would cheer me up before the call. Let's see what happens. I've just organised all the parts, which is the first thing you should do on a complicated model like this, and I do have everything, which is good. It does mention that it has a motor, or can support a motor, so when I get to the part where the motor will be installed, I will not be gluing that in, because it would be cool to have this turning at some point, so I'll have to search that out, find out what motor to order. But yeah, that took a little bit of time. I briefly got excited and thought that I had the lighting kit by accident. Looking at when I went for everything, we've got these little doodads, but yeah, they're not. I think they must be, from looking at it, I think they are the magnetic things which the motor uses to turn it, or maybe they're the things that the motor engages with. That's my guess anyway, but I'm not sure. So the first step is to start to assemble around the hub, which is these two pieces here, and getting these sections here, gluing them on. So basically what you do is first of all you get 90 degrees, so D, E, F. You then put your, well actually first of all you make the circle, and that's where these little metal things come in. Then you assemble the hubs, do the cross piece, and then set that on top of the circle. Continue putting the rest of the spokes in, and then put the second one on top. So that's how it's supposed to work. So it's going to take a while. I'm probably actually not going to be able to get very much done because it's taken me longer than I thought to take all the parts out and organise, but I feel like I'm now actually ready to make a start and should make some progress. So yeah, I've got a slightly hopeful feeling that this will be a really interesting, challenging project that will distract me for the next week while I wait hopefully for some good news. Let's see. Onwards. Well, I got Brand on a base and painted. I didn't end up having to do any extra work because his base, his pudding base as I call it, is basically the same size as the plastic base I've put him on. So he's primed and is now ready to go downstairs, so that's really, really cool. I'm looking forward to painting this. I showed this to Rosie last night and she loved him. So yeah, I've told her that this one will be hers to play with. It will go in the display cabinet while I'm doing the project, but she will have it. That is hers, I won't forget that. And she can have that once this whole thing this year is over with. So yeah, really cool. I'm going to paint him up as He-Man, and that will be what Rosie will know him as, and maybe that will even get her into the He-Man universe, which will be quite cool as well. Well, I got him done in one session this evening, if it would focus. I hope it would. But yeah, I've got one session today, or actually no, not one session, one day, a couple of sessions. And I wanted to paint it because I want to show him to Rosie when I go for the call with her tonight. Hopefully I will have one tonight. And there he is, painted in the red with the gold hair of He-Man. I'm really pleased with how that turned out. Really quick and easy paint job, and hopefully Rosie will like it. So yeah, I'm going to speak to her in about half an hour, fingers crossed. So yeah, I had to get it done before then. So yeah, if you're not voted yet this week, please do so. It makes all the difference. It's really motivating me to keep going, and that's helping a lot obviously. And if you have voted, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Alright, I had a couple of deliveries, which are pretty cool, pretty exciting. Oh goodness me, the wind just picked up really, really badly here. Anyway, so a couple of deliveries. First of all, it's the SBG magazine, which is done by Tom and Damien over in the UK. A wonderful magazine. Really, really enjoy this. Really love it. I was a bit behind, so I bought the missing two, and they've just received it, and they've added in a bonus Advent issue as a thanks for all your Ardacon hard work. So thank you very much, Tom and Damien, if you ever listen to this or watch this. Very much appreciated. So that's going to give me some good reading. You can just see just how much content there is in this. There's 3 of these magazines. I've got them all. I have every single one of them. And yeah, there's a lot of magazines. So if you're into SBG and you don't buy these, why not? Go and get them. The second thing is this, which is Fire Angels. So Marcus Geiger, who is a Kickstarter. Marcus Geiger made some games I've got already. This was very cheap, and it was made in memory of his friend Barry Kendall, and I believe that a bunch of this stuff went through to a charity as well, a bunch of the profits and proceeds. He just wanted his friend's name to live on, which I thought was awesome. So it's a MDF cut game, smells of MDF, and all I've done is taken out its box. So it tells you how to build it, what to do, and I believe what you're trying to do is extinguish fires, and it's a simple firefighting game. So yeah, I will try and look into this and see whether I can manage to oh yeah, Space Kraken that he did, that's it, Space Kraken, yeah. And he did this game, which I really wanted, but it was ridiculously expensive, and so I actually didn't end up buying it. But Dock Fighters, which I really, really, really wanted. I mean, look at how cool it is. But I just decided I couldn't afford it. So we've got a setup there. We've got some instructions I'll need to read through. A whole bunch of flyers and cool artwork. We've got a patch, which is pretty awesome. A couple of dice, and a whole heap of MDF bits and pieces and parts and what have you. So yeah, I'm gonna have to dig into this. Looks like one of the bags has opened, which is a shame, but as long as not too many of the bags have opened, it won't be a problem. Yeah, I'm gonna have to dig through this and find out what's going on where. Oh, look at that, isn't that Rosie? The other reason I got this, I thought Rosie would love it with little fire engines. She loves her fire engines. So I'm going to I'll have a look through this, and when I get to play it, which who knows when it will be, what with how things are going. Though, a quick update on that as well. I have just signed off for the week from my day job, so to give me some time and space and whatever I need to kind of recover a bit. My bosses are being so supportive, beyond belief. So I'm signed off, which has taken a lot of pressure off me, so I'm quite relieved about that. So I might even get time to have a play around with this, so let's see. Anyway, there we are, that's what arrived. Pretty cool. Well, I'm making some progress on this, and there's definitely some things to point out. So I have made a mistake. On these rings, there is a correct way and an incorrect way. And I got it I did it accidentally the correct way on this side. This is all clean, there's no nubbins on the top. But on this side, and you're probably not going to be able to see it, but there's, let's see if I can get this focused in. There's a nubbin on this here, which should be on the inside, because that's what this beam here should slot into. So on this one, half of it has no nubbins, as you can see, and then where I've joined it together here, I've put it together upside down, which is a shame. The other thing is, you can see I've got a hammer here, and these metal pieces here, which slot in to do the in the centre. One of them went in very well. The other one, I ended up giving it a couple of encouragements with an Irish screwdriver. So there we are. Other than that, it's going really well. It's a really nice kit. You just need to be aware, and I didn't notice, and I'm really annoyed. I noticed it just too late. Oh, I need to re-glue that. That's obviously got damage when I've been fiddling with this. But I noticed it just too late to take these pieces apart and switch them around to the right way around. Bit annoying that you can assemble it wrong, but hey, live and learn. So I've got a little bit of extra gluing to do on this one. Just go around and make sure that each of these is glued in nice and securely. And then I'm up to step J, so I am cracking on with this. It's going fast enough. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on it this evening as well. So I'll try to maybe give an update at the end of the evening, see how far I've got. Another gotcha, pretty much straight away actually. So on the next step, which is J, the instructions are really unclear. But what you need to pay attention to is, if you look on the end of this, if it will focus on the end of it, you can see there's two little notches in the middle inside. If you don't pay attention, you'll find yourself doing them offset. And that is not right, because the next step is to have this little Y section, which will slot down between those two. If you can see, it fits in there, the little tongue goes into that groove. So just pay attention to that. I was paying a lot more attention because of the mistake I made with the ring, and spotted and was like, well, that doesn't look right. The instructions are really not clear, basically. They're not clear at all on which piece you want to use. So just make sure you marry the right pieces up, and then what will happen is you'll be able to fit these in, hopefully. So yeah, I'm hoping I'm doing this right, to be honest, because it's a bit confusing at times. I'm dry fitting before I glue, which is another little tip. So yeah, I'm going to get this next section done, which will end up, which is pretty cool, actually being attached to the base. So they go here and here and here and here, and then that's where the that's the kind of like the support for the actual wheel. Anyway, onwards, making progress. Going to carry on. I'll report back later. We're at the messy stage of this project. I'm just starting to make some plans and work things out. I've just knocked out a load of dirt that was inside inside one of these pine cones. There's lots of dirt in them because they were just picked up. As you can see, if I drop that, it's scattering everywhere. So I have to do that a little bit. But the first thing I need to do is actually work out whether my initial idea is actually going to work at all. So I've got my Dremel here, and I'm going to give a go at drilling through one of these, and one of the most fiddly of them, one of the least solid looking ones. So yeah, I hope it works, and I figured I'd do it on camera because it'd be quite funny if it doesn't. Now that's on much too fast, so I'll probably put some music while I'm doing this because it's going to be a horrible sound. There it is. I lost the hole then. Right, let's start again. Well, there we are. I've managed to drill right the way through. As you can see, I've got a hole here and I've got a hole there, which means I'm going to be able to feed a wire through and use that as a way to make this into an armature. So that's really, really good news. So what I'm going to do now is drill a hole through all of these and then spend a bit of time getting some of the crud out. As you said, lots of crud in some of these open ones. My thought is that the open ones that I've drilled, and the others, these open ones, are going to be the legs, coming up to, obviously, to join as the legs, and then have a bit of a body, and then have some arms and a head, because I want to do this as a little figure. So yeah, let's see how it goes. I'll go do the drilling, then I'll sweep up, tidy up, clean up, find some metal, and we'll work out how we're actually going to affix things. This is going to be fun, and I really, really hope Rosie likes it. Well, all of these have been drilled now, and that worked out really well. So I've swept up, and what I've done is I've gone downstairs, grabbed myself some electrical wire, some 3-core, flat 3-core. And this is basically what I'm going to be using to feed through and try to act as a bit of a like a mannequin, or whatever the word is, whatever it's called. So I need to very carefully, and I mean very carefully, remove the wire from this. Don't want to cut myself. These knives are very sharp. But you should be able to, once you've got it started, it should, yep, there we go, you can see it pulls out like this. Ooh. And then goes everywhere. So let's get that out of the way so it's not going to damage anything on the bench. Ow, that hurt. So I'm going to have to carry on doing that. I need to keep starting it, obviously. Every now and then it seems to be breaking. This is quite old cable. But that should, even with the blue on it, feed through. Yeah, it's a bit tight. I might need to. I might try it without even the blue cable on it and then see how that works. But then if that doesn't work, I might need to re-drill these with a slightly larger bore drill bit, because I think this is 2mm, so I think the metal is exactly the right dimension. So anyway, so I'm going to strip this all off, get all the cable off, all the plastic off this cable, and then we'll have a look at it, and I'll start to put together the shape of the of the frame, and then we can start to actually attach the pine cones to it. So let's get that done. Right, well, that's working pretty well, as you can see. The pine cones are sliding onto the metal fine, so what I'm going to have to do now is clip off at the bottom of this one, because I think that's enough for one leg, and work out how I'm going to stop them spinning, or if I'm going to stop them spinning. So yeah, and I've got enough there to do the second leg on the which I'll also do. So my thinking is to do the legs and then twist the two wires together, potentially to join them up, and then get another wire twisted onto that one, which will then come out the top, which will have the body on. So I'm going to keep going with that. I'm going to get the first leg done, and then I might run the camera when I'm working on the second leg. But for now, we're just gonna work on that. Going to work out how I'm going to glue it. I don't know if you can hear Zena yipping in the background, but she wants to come in, so I better go and look at her as well. Alright, so this is going alright at the moment. Now I'm going to make sure it doesn't go alright by turning the camera on. So what you can see is I've got the two legs, and they're going to sit very nicely on my little base. And what I'm working on now is trying to get them to twist together. So what I'm going to try and do, and it's not very easy, is twist this one around the other one. I'll do a couple of twists of both, and then twist the short one around the long one. The long one I can then put more cones onto to act as a body, as the torso. But it's pretty hard. So I don't know how much of this I'm going to film, because it's fiddly as anything, and it might take a little bit of time. But the idea is to get in here with these pliers, grab both, there we are, and twist. Like when you're making a tree. There we are, managed it. So what we've got is we've got our two legs, like so. It nearly stands up on its own. Look at that. Can I get it to balance? Nearly. I'll be gluing it down anyway, so I'm not gonna bother about that. So we've got our legs. They're looking good. Just get them positioned how I want to. They actually are. I'm going to be able to like bend them a bit because it's got the wire. So what I'll do is I'll trim this short one off here, and I'll use this one to drop some more cones on. Just maybe one cone, I'm not sure. Maybe one cone, maybe more. And then when I've got that, then I'll put this. I'll twist another bit of wire on and put the cones on for the arms, and then we'll put one on for the head. So this is going to work, which is quite amazing, and I'm absolutely certain that Rosie will love it. So yeah, pretty happy, pretty excited for her to see this. And just like that, he's done. So now comes the fun part of trying to glue him onto this base. This is not going to be a play piece, it's going to be a display piece, obviously. I did actually go down and get some more cones, but I ended up, which is what I wanted, I ended up with enough. Didn't want to have ones that weren't the ones that Andrew had thrown out. I wanted to save those. So I did manage to save it, which is good. Managed to only use the ones that she saved, and one that I had already up here, which is his head. So what we're going to try and do is stick him down to this. And I'm going to make use of these here things to try and support him while he dries. And hopefully that's going to be enough. I might need to clamp them to keep them stable. Oh no, there we are. Right, don't breathe near it. I'm going to have to shut my window because there's quite a breeze coming in. But if I can just adjust the shot a bit, because it wasn't very well in shot. There we are, it's done. How cool is that? Can't wait for Rosie to see him. Right, I'll let that set, and might then need to put some more glue in, but I'll let that set with what it's got at the moment. Don't want to fiddle with it, and hopefully that's gonna look good. So I'll come back to that in a couple of hours, see how it looks. The time has come. I said I was going to do this last week, but didn't, because yeah, I just was in no fit state to do pretty much anything. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start soldering up the droppers for Rosie's model railway. Now I just counted and I think there's 54 pairs, which means I'm going to do 54 droppers, which means I'm going to do 30 of each initially. That should give me cover. I've got this cool tool which it will help me to do the stripping, as you can see, and I've got that. I've just made sure that's right. It's not going to strip off the underlying. And the work that I did last time, you can see that no longer is the wire being cut by my helping hand. So that worked really well as well. Now I have actually added something a little bit more to that since the video, because I did actually end up putting a second shrink wrap over the top of both. So that's got two of those shrink things on it, and that's made the difference, so just to say that. So yes, what I'm going to do is cut up 30 lengths of the black and cut up 30 lengths of the red. Black to the back, as people say, so I'll do black to the back, red to the front. But that's for the next step. The first step is probably do them, and what I might do actually, I might do one set of droppers, see whether it's going to solder on okay onto the track, and then if it solders on okay onto the track and gives me enough underneath to work with, then I will continue and do the rest. So I will show you the results of that. I probably won't film any of it. I did a fair bit of filming on the soldering on the previous clip for this. It's just the same thing, but I'll show you what it looks like when maybe I've done my first proof of concept. Well, I didn't get as much done today as I hoped on this, but I did get quite a lot done actually, to be fair. So these are tinned, so I think there's 2 reds and 10 of the blacks, and then I did these, so these are all trimmed and twisted, and these all trimmed and twisted, so there's enough there to do 30 pairs. And basically the day got away from me. The court hearing happened, and then everything, lots and lots and lots of other stuff happened, and I didn't have time. But the good thing is I'm ready now to basically sit down, put some music on, and I was doing all right with my soldering as well. It was actually going pretty well. So I'm going to finish getting all these soldered, and then I'm going to put them in place on the layout. I did take one through to the layout, one of the first ones I did, and I found that I was basically making them too long. So I've made them a little bit shorter, which is going to be a bit easier. And this one is still bent, as you can see from having been through the layout. So this will be dropped through, and this will be next to the track, and then I'll solder this to the track, and that's the idea. So yeah, just a load more soldering. It's going to take time. It's not quick, as I'm not quick. But yeah, get that done, and then I'll get the soldering onto the layout, and then I'll need to run the actual whatever ring around underneath. I'm not entirely sure what cable to use for the ring. I'm thinking I might just use the same one, because it's actually all I've got. But maybe I'll try and get some slightly thicker gauge for the ring, and then when that's in place, then we should find the layout runs much smoother. I'll need to clean the tracks, and I can try and run some trains, and hopefully by the time Rosie's home, the layout will be fully operable for her, which would be wonderful. I'd love that. So yeah, onwards and upwards. We're looking at this from the back, and the last thing that I want to do now is install the feathers, which I wanted to have as kind of like wings coming out above the golem's head. I have no idea how this is going to work, or if it's going to work, but I've not had any idea how any of this is going to work. So my idea is to lump a bunch of this glue in, like so. These are feathers I picked up when I was cleaning out the chicken house. And what I'll be looking at doing is putting them in here, and hopefully, let's get that off my hands, hopefully the glue will hold these feathers in place. So I might just put a little bit more glue in. But what I'm going to do is, once I've got this done, I'm going to go to bed, and I'm going to stop fiddling with it, and I'm going to come out in the morning and check what it's like, and I'll show you what it's like. So I don't mind the white because the feathers are white. I did actually briefly look for some brown glue for this, but I realised I didn't really need it. So I'm going to let that go off, and we'll turn the camera back on in the morning and find out what it looks like. Alright, so I thought I'd just do a quick clip, because my earlier clips about my soldering, I didn't actually really talk about temperatures or whatever, and show you my setup. So if I sit back, you can see here I've got my fan, which is blowing across me to take the fumes away. You can see on my bench here I've got my soldering iron, and just back here, probably slightly out of sight, is the power, and that is currently heating up as it goes. So when it stops, I've forgotten what I said it at. When it stops, I'll tell you what temperature it's going at. Now I'm using my 6337 0.8mm solder wire to do this soldering, and I've got a quite a pointy tip on my soldering iron. I also have my helping hand, which is the one that I put the 2 shrink wraps on, which I definitely went through in some good detail. And the way that I'm working this, it's got up to temperature now, 379, 383, yes, around 385. I had it on quite hot before, and I think it was too hot, so I think that's about right, 385. So yeah, so I just thought I'd quickly put this on. That now is that's sizzling when it touches the wet towel. Let's move the ones that are done out of the way and bring that in. So I'm really not very good at this. So this is not to be taken as any kind of, this is how you should do it, but just carefully tin the end, which I don't do very well at all. Put a blob on it then, that's not what I want to do. It's very, very hard to do this. I did it right once, and then now I can't work out how the hell I did it. That's a bit better. So what I'm then doing is I'm coming in and placing on this side, placing the tip of the soldering iron at the end of the wire and then dragging back away from that, and that is tinned. And then on this side, I can either rotate it around and do the same. It is preferable to do that because then I'm not accidentally melting the plastic, which I found to be a bit of a problem when if I hold the iron towards the plastic end, I end up melting the plastic. And that is one done and dusted. So then that goes back in the holder. My dropper gets put over there and I pick the next dropper up. So yeah, I don't know if that's helpful. I'm by no means pretending to be a soldering expert. Obviously I clearly am not, but more of it's a case of, as is most of my content, if I can do it, anyone can, and I'm managing. So if you're nervous of soldering, give it a go. Just get stuck in, pick yourself up it's a good idea to have a soldering iron which has variable heat, because that way you can pick the heat that works well for you. This about 370 to 380 seems to be working really well for me on this, with this solder. It's not too hot, not too cold. So yeah, so I'm going to crack on with this for a little while and try and get as much of this done as I possibly can so that I can get Rosie's railroad working before she comes home, which must happen soon. Well, I just sat there and about 20 minutes or so managed to get every remaining dropper with its end tinned, which is really cool. So now what I'm going to have to do, not tonight, not now, but maybe sometime tomorrow, I'm going to work out what I'm going to do with the rings. I'm going to have some drilling to do and stuff, so I'll bring you along for that to get it so I can run the ring round. And I'm going to look at soldering these in place onto the tracks. So I'll show you how that goes. I'm going to have a little bit of a play and do it a bit off camera first with the soldering of the droppers. But yeah, I'll show what it looks like. I'll bring you along with that once I've got something that's okay to show and once I've worked out how it works. But I'm really pleased by that. It's very nice to have achieved this week, and I'm on with being able to, do the get this layout operating for Rosie, which is very exciting for me. Well, there we are, almost up to a normal length vlog, which is quite amazing, but it does just go to show how doing a little bit does add up. And I've said that so many times through the vlogs, that just a little bit irregularly or regularly means you get a lot done. No idea what the next week's going to bring. Every week is currently a not very pleasant adventure for me, but I will try and keep going. I've nearly finished the Golem. I'm going to carry on with the other things that I'm working on and try and get the Rosie's model railway worked on. Really pleased to have been able to put some time into that, and the Ferris wheel as well. I need to get back to that also, because that should be done by the end of this month. But if it isn't, it isn't. It's not the most important thing in the world. So once again, I'll pop on the screen now the things from Reaper, the miniatures from Reaper. If you haven't yet voted, please do. I really can't tell you enough how much that means to me and how inspirational it's been to me and encouraging to keep going. So thank you to everyone that's voted, and please do vote. Pick one of those miniatures, stick it in the comment down below, and that will really help me, and you might win one of them. So yeah, give it a go. Well, there we are. Tough times, life goes on. Just keep strong, keep going forwards, and even this will end. This too will end. That's what they say, isn't it? So just got to keep going. So I'll wrap up as I always do. Things just going from bad to worse globally as well, it seems, and the conflicts, the wars in Ukraine and Israel now just carrying on and spreading, and it's just horrible. And if any of you are impacted in any way, directly or indirectly, by either of those wars, then my thoughts do go out to you and anyone you know who might be in that situation. And to everyone, please stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.